Let's get moving. Goblins? What the hell are they doing here? Say we didn't warn you. Not bad, if I say so myself. Now then, where were we? That must be the cargo we're looking for. Cargo's safe and sound. Maybe. Looks like it's been rummaged through.
Watch out, Rackham! We've got goblins and vipers on our trail!
It'll take more than that to dupe us.
Rain hell on them!
Oops! Too much for you?
Between the eye!
Things are about to get dicey. Just don't let him get close to the cargo.
Come on!
There's still more of them! Stay sharp, everybody!
Bring it! That all?
Range, Dad!
Bring out the big guns!
Try! Have some dick! Infinito sean it!
So the big shot finally decided to show up, huh? Well... you monsters screwed up big time today, because you chose to mess with the best crew to ever cross these skies. Glad that's over with.
Oh, you're a lifesaver. How could I ever thank you?
You want to thank someone, thank him. I gestured toward Kent. The man's face filled with shame as the irony dawned on him.
So it was you, huh? Hey, listen. I'm sorry about earlier. I could have heard you out.
After the merchant left, I wanted to focus on the next goal at hand. Putting some wind back in the Nautilus's sails. So I proceeded to do some intelligent and, dare I say, brilliant thinking on the topic when Kent asked what I was talking about. Whoops. Must have been thinking out loud again. You just wait and see.
All right. Hello there.
How many times do I gotta say it? Getting parts to fix the Nautilus out here in the boonies is next to impossible.
I've never been good with women. My words never come out quite the way I mean for them to. I thought maybe Miss Mechanic would be on board, but... I probably shouldn't be doing this behind Kent's back anyway.
I'm telling you, I've tried everything. Sure, I'd love to see her fly again, but it's time to... get real. right?
Hey, come on. That was against the rules. How was I supposed to keep a stern attitude against that blubbering mess? When I finally got a word in edgewise, I let her know I already had the parts she needed. Picked him up here and there, across Fanta Grande and Nala Grande. Here, this what you need? I've got you a deal.
Wait, how? Where in the skies did you find these?
Caught up in her excitement, she leapt at me. Whoa, not so close, Missy. Of course, she paid me no regard. It was the parts she had her eyes on.
Some modifications here and there, I could... Yeah. I can't believe it. The dream is alive.
Yep, the dream was alive. She didn't have to say it. The look on her face was enough. All that hubbub from earlier was nowhere to be found. After forking over the payment, she happily took the spare parts off my hands. She also made sure to plant a big fat kiss on my cheek before scurrying off. Sheesh, at least warn a guy beforehand, right? Women, I swear. In any case, the winds were starting to blow back in their favor.
Rackham, there you are. I've got huge news. Listen to this.
It was clear from Kent's smile that the repairs on the Nautilus were going smoothly, thanks to a mechanic friend of his. Well, ain't that something? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't impressed. Those parts weren't the easiest to work with. Not bad, Miss Mechanic.
Rackham, sir? A friend told me she got the parts from a traveling skyfarer. Had 3-day-old scruff and a little swagger to him. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Huh. Well, I keep my scruff in an elegant chin strap. Thank you very much. Not sure I sounded very convincing, trying to play off his answer, but I'm a helmsman, not an actor. Ha! But just another performance or two, and the Nautilus would be skybound once more.
The Nautilus is skyworthy?
I wasn't sure which was greater, the helmsman's confusion or Kent's enthusiasm.
Yep. We've got one last bit of patching up to do, but she'll be ready before you know it. Isn't that exciting?
Unexpectedly, the helmsman's confusion shifted into something darker. I decided to pry. Yeah, we'll have you back at the helm in no time. Unless you're getting cold feet or something. Yep, hit the nail on the head. The look in his eyes was unmistakable. He feared the skies. Despite his attempts to hide it, his fists were balled up and trembling. I knew the signs well enough. It wasn't my place to snoop further. From his perspective, I was just a busybody trying to dredge up a dream he'd long laid to rest. What could I do anyway? This was something he had to deal with himself. But hey, if I got through it, anyone could. So I did what I could. I put my hand on his shoulder and gave him a sympathetic nod.
I'm sorry, I don't think I can do this.
It was a bombshell no one wanted to hear, especially as the Nautilus's repairs were finally wrapping up.
What are you talking about? This was our dream, wasn't it? What did you...
I'm afraid, okay?
A heavy silence permeated the room. It was uncanny how much of my former self I saw in him. Actually, uncanny's not the word. It was downright painful. See, to pilot an airship, you gotta make peace with the fear of flying, a close cousin of the fear of death. You, afraid? Aren't you a trained helmsman? I knew exactly how he felt, but decided to play dumb. His response was so faint, I wasn't sure if he'd said anything at all. Turns out, he made a bad call during a practice flight and crashed his vessel. Barely escaped with his life.
I don't want this dream to die, but my arms shake whenever I think of taking the wheel again.
Poor kid, he hadn't figured it out yet, but I knew how to teach him. Real shame the Nautilus won't have a helmsman. Maybe I should take over, till you're feeling up to it.
No. The Nautilus is our ship.
He took the bait. Fair enough. Then come with me for a ride on the Grand Cipher. If you've got the grit for it, I mean. It was a risky gamble, but I had a feeling Lady Luck was on my side that day. Well, another day, another dime.
Incredible. It even has an autopilot mode?
She's got it all, kid.
Why did Rackham bring us aboard?
I'm not quite sure myself, actually, but it is kind of fun.
Rackham! We've got company!
No, 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 I'm too young to die.
Everybody take cover. I'll handle this.
There's more of them!
Just stay calm. I won't let you get in harm's way. I promise.
Let's see what you got! Surprise! Go back! Oops! Too much for you! Let's play! Take a look! Oh yeah! Taste the blade!
Don't think so. How's that? Yeah.
Guys, life and death lie cheek by jowl.
Expect the unexpected. Huh.
That all?
Beat this!
Don't run out!
I can't believe he took down those wyverns. Skyfarers are a whole different breed, huh?
Stay sharp! We've got more wyverns coming our way!
So the first horde was just recon, huh? Bring it! They'll go down all the same.
I think I'm starting to get it, Rackham. Why it is that you fight. I mean, you want to take to the skies? You gotta be ready for the storms, right?
Yeah. When you truly believe in a dream, the risk of danger is a small price to pay.
A dream, huh? I lost sight of what's important.
Too late to run away, bud.
Don't let up! Take a look!
Bring out the big gun! Between the eyes! Got a bullet for you!
Taste the blade! Let's...
All right, that's the last of them. Now then, take a good look around you. Tell me that ain't a sky worth putting your life on the line for.
Yeah, that's really something, huh? I never knew it could be this beautiful.
Glad that's over with.
Incredible! The skies are so vast.
Wow.
So that's what the town looks like from up high.
What a relief. I was worried the monster attack had only made things worse for the would-be crew. But the gamble paid off. The helmsman's eyes lit up with newfound determination.
The Nautilus will fly, and you can bet I'll be at the helm.
The skies have a way of making us understand. I'm just glad this kid decided to listen.
Yeah?
All right. Hello there.
Clear blue skies, gentle breeze. It was perfect conditions for the Nautilus's maiden voyage. As the helmsman gripped the wheel, I knew he was no longer shackled by fear. Kent, the mechanic, the merchant, even Lyria, Vern, and some of our other crewmates. Actually, damn near the whole town showed up to witness the rebirth of an old friend. As the propellers began to churn, a metallic sputter sounded from somewhere below deck. It was a symphony of gears I'd heard time and time again. That mechanic, she'd done it. After a brief checkup, they started the countdown. Tension was palpable. Come on, Nautilus. All eyes were on the airship. No one dared to breathe. A wind whipped up around the Nautilus, and there it was. Liftoff. And once again, she sailed into those skies so blue. A few weeks had passed since the Nautilus took its maiden voyage. According to Kent, the Nautilus was now Folka's leading cargo ship. Makes sense, given that it was 3 times faster than any other ship on the island. And not only that, but it seemed Kent had found himself a new dream already.
Okay, picture this, Rackham. 3 ships conjoined into one massive cruise liner. See? All we need to do is reconstruct these columns here and...
I wonder if I sounded that crazy to the others whenever I got my big ideas. Anyway, such a massive ship would require at least 3 helmsmen. So in his effort to make the cruise liner a reality, Kent started studying how to be a helmsman himself. But if Kent were to be the second pilot, who would be the third?
About that, actually, we'd be honored to have you as the lead helmsman of our ship.
Of course. It was a kind offer, but I already had a family in my crew and a home in the Grand Cipher. But that didn't mean I couldn't let the kid down easy. Sorry, Kent. This Skyfarer's not old enough to set anchor just yet. Until that day comes, you can find me wherever the wind blows.
If I hadn't met Master Zaka on that fateful day, if he hadn't saved me, there's no way I'd be where I am now. I'm from the Vaults Duchy, where the weather's sweltering all year long, thanks to a river of lava that flows through the island. My hometown might not have been the most scenic place, but as long as I had Master Zaka with me, I was happy. After traveling for so long, I can finally say that with pride. Before I left on my journey, I was completely clueless. When my master went missing, I just ran around like a chicken with its head cut off. I was looking for something, anything that would help me find him, and that's when I met the crew. The reason behind his disappearance turned out to be even worse than I could have imagined. The Earthstate Empire had driven him out of his mind. They had manipulated him into awakening the primal beast that had lain dormant beneath the ground, Colossus. Fortunately, I was able to break through to him, thwarting the Empire's attempt to exploit Colossus's powers for conquest. I I learned that they were doing all sorts of horrible things, even to their own people, in order to achieve their goals. My master was a kind person who never hesitated to help those in need. I resented the Empire for making him suffer. And I couldn't just sit around when there was work to be done. That's why I decided to join the crew. To stick it to those Empire jerks and give their victims something to smile about. A few years before I met the crew, I lost my parents to an epidemic. I mourned their deaths for who knows how long. I could barely even bring myself to face reality each morning. With no living relatives in vaults, I was like a ship adrift at sea. I had nowhere to go and nowhere to belong. Until one day, my master reached out his hand to me. I was so depressed I just kept staring at the ground. But that gentle smile never left his face as he asked me, "Why do you look so sad?" There was something in his voice that made me look up. When I did, a beautiful bouquet of flowers appeared in his hands, seemingly out of thin air. I had no idea how he'd done it, but I knew it must have been some kind of parlor trick. But he insisted it was magic. What a goofball, right? Saying that when he can use real magic. But it was just the magic I needed at that moment. Beautiful and kind. He went on to show me all kinds of incredible spells, the likes of which I'd never seen before. Watching him made me smile at a time when I thought I'd forgotten how. My master would always say that magic exists to make people happy. Something about that spoke to me. It made me want to become a mage just like him. So I signed myself up as his disciple, begging him to teach me magic. I'll never forget how happy I was when he told me I had talent. After all, if he was right, that meant I had the potential to make people smile too. One day, shortly after I joined the crew, I suddenly lost the ability to use magic. No matter how many times I tried casting a spell, nothing happened. I had no clue what to do. The rest of the crew thought Master Zaka might have the answers I needed, so we set sail for vaults. It'd been forever since I'd been back home. My master was thrilled to see how much I'd grown. I opened my mouth to ask him about my problem, but when I saw how happy he looked, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I'd promised him that I'd come back as a great mage, but there I was, unable to cast even a single spell. The last thing I wanted was for him to be disappointed in me. Around that time, an epidemic returned to vaults, the same disease that had claimed the lives of my parents. Wanting to keep it from spreading any further, my master headed to the clinic to speak with the people who'd been infected. But he ended up getting sick too. The source of the epidemic turned out to be an evil spirit that revealed itself to us right there in the clinic. I immediately confronted it. That rotten creature had already taken my parents from me. I wasn't gonna let it take anyone else. Determined to make it pay, I raised my staff, but nothing happened. I'll never forget how it felt to watch, helplessly, as my parents' killer got away. The crew gave chase, but I continued to stand where I was. Without my magic, I didn't see the point. I'd just end up getting in the way. All I could do was watch as my master suffered, withering away. Nothing had changed since the last time. But you know, it wasn't all bad. In search of a solution to my magic loss at the local library, I happened to come across a beautiful golden staff, one left to me by my mother. That's when Master Zaka revealed that my mother had been a mage too. On the verge of tears, I clenched my staff tightly in frustration. My beloved home and master were being threatened by a disease-spreading spirit, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. Just as I began feeling completely hopeless, the staff began to glow. Somehow I could feel it encouraging me, empowering me. So what if I couldn't use magic? Surely there were other ways to help everyone. Unable to stand around doing nothing any longer, I ran off to find the crew. When I finally tracked them down, they'd already been rendered powerless by the disease. That left me as the only person who could fight. There wasn't a second to lose. It was that moment when I decided I was done running away. I'd promised myself a long time ago that I was going to use my magic to make people happy. Filled with newfound resolve, I heard a voice coming from the staff. Mom? Is that you? The voice told me to visualize the power flowing through me. As I did, I could feel magic welling up inside me, flooding out from deep within. With my mom's help, I was able to defeat the evil spirit. As soon as it was gone, light erupted from my staff. I turned to see the rest of the crew climbing to their feet, their symptoms gone. The power spread through the entire island of Valstechi, eliminating the disease and bringing smiles back to the people. Things were a little touch and go there for a while, but in the end, everyone pulled through. And I've been able to use my magic without any issue ever since. I just know it's because my mom is watching over me through my staff. Thanks to her, I can keep traveling with the crew, using the staff she left me to bring out more smiles along the way. While out running errands in Folca one day, I came across a crowd of people in the town square. But from the sounds of things, it wasn't a friendly get-together.
I hate you all! Mom, Dad, everybody in this stupid town!
The boy shouted angrily at the adults and took off running, right into me. We both landed on our backsides. Sheesh, watch where you're going, kid. And that's when I noticed the tears streaming down his face. He was clearly upset about something. Hey, you okay? The boy hopped to his feet without a word, shooting me a glare before sprinting away. One of the adults started to follow after him, but...
Please, Doctor, there's not much time.
The crowd stopped him in his tracks.
But I can't just... No, you're right. My patients need me. Forgive me, Lev.
The man closed his eyes, muttered something to the townspeople, and ran off in the opposite direction. Wait, that kid was crying! You're not gonna go after him? I shouted after the man's back, but he either didn't hear me, or pretended not to. Then I felt a gentle hand on my shoulder.
I'm sure he wants to, sweetheart. You see, that boy is his son.
The boy's name was Lev. His father was a doctor, with many patients needing urgent care, so he had no choice but to ask the townspeople to find a son for him. I knew I should mind my own business. I couldn't get the poor kid's face out of my head. He was probably hiding somewhere all by himself, crying his eyes out. I understood all too well how painful it felt to be alone. When Master Zaka reached out to me, it changed my life forever. Maybe it was my turn to do the same for someone else. I turned to ask the crew if we could join the search, but they were already gearing up to head after him. It seemed we'd all had the same idea. Just you wait, Lev, I thought to myself. I was gonna find him and put a smile back on his face, even if it meant sticking my nose where it didn't belong. The villagers didn't seem too worried about Lev. According to them, he'd have to venture much deeper into the forest before encountering any monsters. But that wasn't the issue. It seemed like nobody wanted to talk about why he'd run off in the first place. It was an obvious cry for help, and nobody was helping. I went through the same thing back in the day. Even after I met my master, there were times when the loss of my parents was just too much to bear. I didn't go so far as to run from home, but I'd sit alone in the corner of my room, hugging my knees to my chest and crying. Whenever Master Zaka found me like that, a trick to cheer me up. Just like me, all Lev wanted was for someone to find him, to take his hand, so he went off on his own in the hopes that someone would come for him. I'm sure he knew it was selfish, but it was the only card he felt he had left.
Do you think this means Lev doesn't want to live at home anymore?
I had a feeling that wasn't the case. He's probably just going through a rebellious phase.
Oh, that's when kids start arguing and acting out, right? Catalina told me it's pretty common. Did you have a phase like that?
Lyria's question was innocent enough, but I was too embarrassed to admit that I'd ever gone off alone because I wanted someone to pay attention to me. Heck no! That's not something befitting of a grown lady like myself. So what if I told a little lie? Our biggest concern right now was Lev, who was out there, probably crying with his back up against some rough, silent tree. He needed a friend, and I was more than determined to be one for him. This forest is as huge as ever. I sure hope Lev's okay.
Come on! We gotta find him, and fast! Wait, we're still on the edge of the forest, right? What are goblins doing here?
Too much for you?
There's no time to waste. We've gotta find him.
Watch out for the flyers! We're gonna need that magic of yours, Io! I can do
Thought
this!
you had me?
I don't see him anywhere! Huh? That's a lot of monsters. Guess we'll just have to take them all out.
I'm on it.
Incoming!
Oh, come on! Just leave us alone already!
Huh? Where are you going? There's still goons to bash. Looks like that's the last of them.
Lev's all alone out there. Come on!
Look, there he is. Over there. Watch out for the Let's break you in.
Rokuda! Oh yeah.
Don't worry, they're gone now. You okay?
Yeah, thanks.
We were lucky we found Lev when we did, or he would have been Monster Chow. But before we could talk to him, the town watch came hurrying over.
Lev, your parents are worried sick about you. Come on, let's go home.
Lev looked away, ignoring the old man's outstretched hand. I could imagine how he was feeling, being treated like he was selfish and immature, when all he wanted was someone to sit down and talk to. The man sighed and scratched his head in frustration.
Your mom and dad are fine people. Try being a little more considerate, okay?
Lev immediately bristled at those words, breaking his silence.
What do you know? This is all your fault!
Knocking the man's hand out of the way, he turned and ran deeper into the forest. It was like watching a scene from my own past, but I wished he'd get a grip already. The deeper he went into the forest, the more likely he was to get attacked. We had to hurry.
So long. Big help.